All right, welcome to the Max Effort Kitchen podcast. This is the athlete and the chef. I am Matt. This is Cornell. We are here to just have some fun, talk weightlifting, talk food. Cornell, how you doing today?
I am good. I'm ready for the weekend to be over, and I'm ready to start the next week.
Yeah, yeah. Now I don't know. I'm not going to be that old guy, but I'm going to be that old guy. I don't know what the weather's like down there. I think last time I talked to you, you said it was kind of cloudy, but kind of sunny. But it has been miserable. Like I'm talking 42 and just torrential like downpours all day, like not stopping. Yesterday, I don't think it stopped raining all day.
Wow.
And we have 5 days of like blue sky sun coming this week. I am freaking stoked. I need that sun, man. It does so much for your life. I mean, when you're in the gray for about 9 months out of the year, when you get sun, it's like you're instantly good mood.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make you too jealous, but
yeah, I know.
It's been a very confusing weather, honestly, this past week.
Yeah.
It's that weather where you're in the sun and you get hot, so you take your sweatshirt off.
Yeah.
And then you walk past a tree and there's shade and you're immediately freezing. Mm-hmm. And so it's this back and forth thing. So it's a very just confusing time where today, for some reason, I was just cold all day. But there was not a reason for it because it was like 62 to 65 like all day. So It wasn't like it was that cold, but I literally couldn't warm up. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not the jealous type, so I would rather live vicariously through it than be jealous about it. I mean, man, my doctor tells me I need more vitamin D in my life. I'm not going to say that's what she said, but that's what she said. And never mind. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited for this week. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be nice. I was like cold and wet all day yesterday. And it was like the day that I had to be outside, like running errands and stuff. So I'm like, yeah.
No, the reason I said I'm ready for the week to start is I didn't get much time off. Not that I was trying to get much time off for the past couple of weeks, but my family has been home with nothing to do and just driving kind of me crazy. Mm-hmm. And so I am ready for them to get back to the schedule that I just haven't really changed from. So
yeah, man. I think I told you this on the pre-show thing, but my kids are so bored. They're now like attacking us. And I don't mean like attacking us, but like they're doing everything in their power to like create a stir. Like we have this in the downstairs like family room, we have this closet, and the closet goes back into this. It's like, I mean, it's probably like 6 feet deep, but like Jackson's small, so he built a fort in there. And I'm like, dude, you can't come out of here today. Sorry. Well, that might be child abuse, but hey, he came out. But I mean, at the same point, like, bro, it's been a lot. I am excited for them to get back to school and sports and all that stuff, and my life calmed down a little bit. So
yeah, I mean, my kids were literally trying to start a big fight over who gets to shower first tomorrow, and it's not necessarily just first. It's like my daughter doesn't want to have to get up early and doesn't want to be affected by my son showering, so she's like, "You have to be done by 6:05," and he's like, "Whoever gets in first gets in first. If you want to go in, if you want to get in at 6 and I get there at 6:02, you win. So you get to go first."
Yeah.
But I know that he's the one who will set alarms and he will wake up and he will make sure that he's up like 2 minutes before her. And she's the lazy one who will just stay in bed until she hears him get up, and then she will bolt for the door so fast and then just freak out.
Oh man. I guess I have that to look forward to because your kids are a little bit older than mine. They don't fight over the shower. They just fight us on taking a shower. So
I think that is definitely a change that has happened in the last like 5 years.
Okay.
So maybe like more like 2 years.
Yeah. Good stuff. Hey, I noticed the past couple shows we haven't been talking much food. And I did something fun today. It's nothing. It wasn't like anything outstanding or like extraordinary that you're like everybody's going to be all impressed about. But um, I had one steak.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, me and my wife, we're gonna eat like we were gonna do like this curry soup, like it's a cauliflower curry soup, one of my favorites. Um, and I was like, man, we need something else. And so I seared up the steak and the cast iron, and I did Montreal seasoning, which we all know that I love. I think it's a showstopper with steaks. You don't need to do salt and pepper on it. You just put that on it. It's great. I also do salt and pepper, but depending on the steak, this one was a very thin ribeye cut.
Yeah.
And so I seared on both sides, threw it in the oven for about 7 minutes and about a 350 oven. Took it up, sliced it really thin. Had some had a brick of like focaccia, and I cut it down the middle, and I made steak sandwiches. And so we did steak sandwiches and this like curry soup stuff. And but on the steak sandwiches, I did like a goat cheese and chart.
Gross.
Oh man, goat cheese and tart cherry spread, which was really freaking good. And then like these little microgreens tossed in like chili oil on top of the steak. Nice little sandwich. I'll post pictures of it. But like I got done with this meal, and I don't know if you've had meals like this recently, but it was like everything was really satisfying. So it hit all levels of like taste that I wanted. It filled me up, and I walked away from this meal, and I didn't eat like 4 bowls of soup and like 5 sandwiches. I had 2 little sandwiches and a bowl of soup, and I'm like, there was something super satisfying about that.
Nice.
And I love it. That's I think, and this is what I really really enjoy about cooking, which is it's something you create that satisfies the soul, I guess, for lack of better words. It just sat. I could eat like that every day, and it was really cool.
No, that's great. I did a steak sandwich, not quite like that, the other
Yep.
day as well.
Nice.
The gym I go to is very, let's just say, diverse ethnically.
Okay.
So I eat a lot of food that people bring to like the potlucks and that kind of thing. And I'm like, I have no idea what that was, but that was awesome.
Right.
And I think that it was like some Thai steak or just Thai sandwiches that someone brought a couple months ago. It might have been to a competition or something, and it was like for the volunteers. But I was like, I don't know what was in that, but I want that. And I was trying to look it up, and I couldn't find any places anywhere near. So I just decided to recreate it. So I just got like a baguette and like a fresh one, so it wasn't really hard yet.
Right.
Cut it down the middle, just toasted it on butter. Thinly sliced medium rare tri-tip. And then I got the like I think they're called bean sprouts.
Yeah.
Something like that. Those little crunchy little weird things.
Yeah.
I got those. I got carrots. I put a little bit of like where you take the super spicy stuff out of the, not that it's super spicy, but I made it for my family too, out of the jalapenos.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of the Thai chili sauce. And I think we also had avocado, so I just put avocado in it. And
perfect.
Everyone was super stoked on it.
That sounds great. I mean, you had layers of flavor there. That sounds amazing.
So it was a little bit of a risk because I didn't think that my family had ever had like the Thai chili sauce, and I was like, I'm just going to go for it, and we'll see if they eat it.
Yeah. I mean, that Thai chili sauce, it can change. I mean, it's kind of a tool. Like you keep that in your fridge, and it can make meals great. Did I tell you about the baguette trick on how to like make those things come back alive? Or do you know about that?
Where you get it wet?
Yeah, you run it under the water. Like you just take it and be like under like some water real quick, throw it in an oven, like 400-degree oven for 3 minutes. And that thing is like tender and crispy and like, bready, I guess you could say, all of a sudden. And like I'll do it with baguettes that I've kept in the freezer for like a month.
Okay.
Pull it out, run some water under it, 400-degree oven, 3 minutes in there, and it just like comes back alive. It's freaking really cool. I learned that from the bakery that does all of our like panini bread.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, if you guys ever think that it's stale, it's not. So just run it underwater, put it in your oven for 3 minutes, and you guys got brand new bread there. And I was like, hell yeah. And I've tested and it keeps on working. So everybody out there, give it a shot.
I've done it with ciabatta rolls.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not that they're that, I mean, I'll do it even if they're fresh, not like fresh, but like Costco fresh. And then you want to warm them up and just make them softer and squishier. And my wife was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. Someone said this once.
Yeah, it works, man. It's great.
Yeah.
It's a good little move. Since we've moved into this new place, I've been I'm not going to say me only. Alana has been baking a lot, which I found, I said something to her the other day and I was like, I didn't know you were a baker. she's like, no, we got the kitchen to do it now. And I'm like, this is awesome. There's something about having a lot of just a very comfortable space to cook in. I mean, your house was great. I remember the first time I came down there, it was the morning of the competition and I come out of the bathroom and your wife's like, hey, you want to cook the eggs? And I was like, yeah. So I get over there, but instantly felt at home and comfortable in your kitchen. And so there's something about having that like very comforting space to create food in. And it's just about being creative, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I find it to be very almost methodical, therapeutic, I guess you can say. I don't know.
Yeah, I've told people or talked to my wife about the size of our kitchen, and I said it's a very big, small kitchen.
Yes.
She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, it's too small to put an island, but it's big. So like we couldn't fit an island because there's not enough room for that. But because there's just not enough room for that, there's probably 6.5 feet between the cabinets.
Yeah.
So there's quite a bit of room to move around in and you're not stumbling all over each other. But
yeah,
it is one of those things where like I would really like to have an island. So we will have one in about a year.
There you go. We have an island for the first time, and I will say it's like an abundance of counter space that I've never had. So,
do you have anything in the island, or is it just open?
It's just open. It's just all counter.
Yeah, that's
counter cabinets. We have empty cabinets, and I'm okay with it. Actually, I find myself like very relieved because I don't have anything in a cabinet. I'm like, this is great.
Well, it's cool because you can just be like, hey, this is where I keep my toothpicks. And you just put a box of toothpicks in that one cabinet. And then if someone tries to put something else in there, like, no, that's the toothpick cabinet.
Yeah. I like that. Get your stuff out of my toothpick cabinet. So this is the second, third show of the new year. And I don't know about you, but I heard something funny the other day. And it was a stupid Instagram meme, but it was like, hey, January 13th is all now known as Quitter's Day. I'm like, what? And I just kept on watching it. And it was like, this is the day that the average American stops going to the gym after starting in the new year. So I thought, hey, why don't we talk about this whole goal setting and kind of like go down that route, because it does happen. I mean, it happens in a certain way in the weightlifting community, but it happens in a very big way in the fitness industry, or just in everybody's life period. Everybody wants to get back into the gym. Everybody wants to be healthy. In fact, when I'm making specials at work that I'm going to roll out in January, I am salad heavy. I'm moving towards lighter ingredients. I'm playing to these factors, and it works because all of it sells. But at the same point, like, and I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. Like, set goals, do it. Set goals. But if you're going to set a goal, take the time to be have some sort of intention to actually accomplish that goal, and don't just quit when it gets hard.
I like that. One of the other things that I do for myself is I put a accomplishment date by that goal.
Yeah.
So our gym has a goal board, and I was the only one who put a date on it. And I said, I want to hit this snatch by Christmas.
Yeah.
And then Christmas came and I didn't make it. And then I walked up to it and I was like, it bummed me out. But I had always known that I wrote make this number by Christmas and I didn't do it. Yeah. But it also gave me something where I was pushing and trying to make sure I didn't skip stuff and being like, I had certain dates where I was going to attempt numbers and see if I could get to that point where I was going to at least get a chance at it.
Yeah.
And I didn't make it. So took it off the board, and there's a open spot in all of the things that are lined up, and there's not one on the accomplishment goal or board.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna rethink what, I don't know if that number is going to be possible, but it's going to go back up on the board soon.
Yeah. That's good. In the idea of that, I think I'll back up a little bit. I am a very much a product of someone who has gotten better because of the things that I failed on.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of value in that. Yeah. And I think that whatever number you hit, I know you well enough. You'll hit it. I know you will. And it's, I think it's good to not accomplish something, but at least have something to move towards.
Yeah. As you've been in my garage and on the garage door, I have the 155/185 written on the garage door.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I didn't make the 155 snatch yet. I'm very close.
You are.
I haven't gotten that close in a while, but
yeah.
I did load, and I know I didn't clean this, but I posted it today on my story. Some of the people at the gym were saying like, we should just count that as a training make. I'm like, no, it wasn't a make. It wasn't even a training make, I locked out and I had balanced over my head for a solid 3/4 of a second before it slowly started tipping in front, the 185 kilo jerk.
Okay.
And I did make 182 before that. And it was a little squishy. I wouldn't have given it to myself in competition, but that 185 was solid. It was just a 1/2 inch in front. And with that kind of weight, a 1/2 inch is a mile.
Yeah.
So it is kind of cool. At least like I haven't even really thought too much about it, but I'm like, I got to attempt that number.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Well, you got it overhead. Yeah.
It was,
to me,
I thought I had it, but it was one of those, like, you don't have it. And then the whole gym was erupting. And then all of a sudden it started falling.
Yeah. That reminds me of a funny lift that was maybe the first time I met you. We were at that camp and you went to clean something up, and I don't know if it was when the jerk or the clean, but all the weight started falling off.
Yep. I saw that video yesterday.
Oh, did you? It was funny. I heard a quote. I don't know who said it. I can't give credit, but I did hear a quote that said consistency.
If you say it, then you said it.
There you go. Consistency is not about being perfect. It's about showing up every day, or showing up when you say you're going to. And that's all it is. And you had it overhead, but you didn't, it wasn't a make. But that's like an incremental step towards the make, right? And I'm just using that as an example. I'm not like telling you that. I know you know that. But for anybody listening, like, it starts with just lifting it off the ground. Maybe it's a clean at first. Maybe it's a clean press plus like trying to press it, or just standing there with and feeling it. Goals can come in many different ways. Just keep doing them. Just keep working.
I don't think I've ever attempted that weight. Yeah. So I hit my first 400 pound, I was going to say 400 kilo, 400 pound jerk, I think December 31st, 2021.
Okay.
And then I've made 1 kilo increases basically every January.
That's awesome.
And
I love that.
it's not because I'm planning to do it January, but this year I was like, oh yeah, I hit that 4 years ago. This would be cool to make the next jump.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
That's neat. I like that. There's something I do every January that's I guess stops me from getting all hyped up on like I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. I pick a competition and I start training for it on January 1st.
okay.
And for the past 3 years, since 2022, that's what I've done. And it's always been Masters Nationals. And I've trained to it, I've gone to it, I've competed. And then by the time you're done with that, you're like, cool, I'm on such a good path of training right now that I don't even need to think about how hard it was. I'm sure all my friends heard about how hard it was. But at the same time, it's like I signed up, I paid the money, I made the plans, I got my ass out there. People were counting on me to be there because they were going to help me. And then I completed the competition and I went home. And it's like I'm big on I'm a list guy, and so when I get to work on a Monday, I start making my list for the week, and I'm just like I love checking things off, and it makes me feel accomplished. And so like by doing all these little steps, I'm like that just takes my head out of the game of, oh, I gotta hit this, I gotta hit this weight by this day, or I gotta, for me it's like when I hit it I can mark it off a list, otherwise it's going to be staring me in the face the entire time. And that is that's enough to get me to keep pushing. Now there's things on my list that I don't get to mark off, and that makes me mad. So I'm not going to say I'm 100% on all those things, but I like this time of year because it does make me feel like I can reset. And I also I don't know about you. I know we've talked about this actually. I think you have talked about this. In December, I kind of take it off. That's like my off season.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's nice that what I like about it is I know that you're taking it much more off to spend more time with family and to do
Correct.
those types of things.
Yes.
I know a lot of people who took a lot of time off in December just because they were partying. And I'm like, all right.
All right.
Well, guess what? I didn't take any time off, and I'm now attempting jerks at what you're hoping to back squat.
Correct. Well, it's funny because that little blurb I put up where you were talking about that a handful of shows back, I put it up on Instagram as a little reel, and I think I got more comments and likes out of that than I have in a long time. And everybody was like, spot on. You don't need more than 3 days. And just talking about how like people just need, if they're going to focus on weightlifting and if they want to do it, and if they're making the financial implication to say I'm going to do this, or financial investment, I guess is what I'm trying to say, then do it. Like don't I don't want to get too deep into this, but like don't say you're going to do something and then next weekend you're going out drinking, because we all know that alcohol is going to kill your training.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Alana poured me a mimosa on New Year's, and I'm not proud of this. I'm actually a little embarrassed by it. Cup was out. It was like a little highball glass, and I drank half of it, and I was like, "Oh, I can't do this." I was like, "I'm getting a little lightheaded. I don't know. I like this feeling." And then, but I've cut alcohol out of my system so much, and it's honestly, I think it's because A, I don't like the way alcohol feels, but B, it affects my life in so many bad ways.
Yeah,
I got to stop doing it. And so, when I made that decision, everything got better.
that is a very big thing on my feed recently. Is I haven't really had a drink. Like I've tasted stuff if I make something for my wife, or so I'm not going to say alcohol hasn't touched my lips, but
right.
I haven't. Or okay, here's the best way to say it. I haven't ordered or made a drink in probably 2+ years. And this year, my whole Instagram feed, and I don't follow that many people, but the people I follow, like I've invested a lot of time into many of these people's lives, even if I haven't met them. But like, I feel like I know them. I know their families. I know their job. I know what they do outside of weightlifting. Some of these people aren't even weightlifting anymore, and I still follow them because I'm like, we're friends, even though we're not.
Right.
And there's like 6 or 7 people just today that we're just talking about how if you had told 20 years ago them that when they were 40 or 42, 43 years old, that they're going to have more fun not drinking alcohol and feel better about themselves and their lives. They're like, I would have never believed it. And I was like, I can't believe how many people are actually doing this as well. And it's not like we're talking about it.
No.
And yesterday our gym had a New Year, kind of like a New Year's party, but not a New Year's party at a place downtown San Diego. And I was just like, oh, good Lord. It's literally like in the middle of downtown. And I'm like, I'm going to have to find parking and I'm going to have to do this. And
but we're such old guys. I know. I'm with you.
I think I was the second one there. And I was the first one to leave with my friend Randy, because he's a little bit older than me. And he's like, I think I'm out of here, guys. I'm like, yeah, I got to walk him to his car. Nice. But everyone there was drinking. And I'm like, it doesn't bother me. Yeah. But I was like, all right, they have some beer, but it's 0 alcohol. I'm like, that doesn't count. No. I'm like, let me try this. I slept like garbage last night. And I was like, could it have anything to do with the fake beer?
I mean, what is fake beer, right? I mean, how are they taking the alcohol in that? They're doing something. They're putting something in that thing.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing, but I'm like, it's a 0% alcohol. I was like, it's fine. I got that, and then I got a soda, and they never gave me my soda cup, and I basically drank one like 10-ounce beer that was non-alcoholic and complete garbage sleep last night.
Oh, and I was like, sucks.
So I was like, all right, I'm not even gonna do that.
Well, I've never understood the non-alcoholic beers. I am a guy that I guess if I indulge and have a beer, it's going to be something that's going to taste good. And I just like, I don't know. I've never been an IPA fan. I don't like the super hoppy stuff. And, for a while, Portland was the beer epicenter, which I don't think it was, but there was a lot of beer microbrews coming out of here or whatever, all these artisan things. But if I were to drink, it would be a little bit of scotch or a little bit of whiskey, and then I'd call it a day. But I'm so out of that loop. To me, I'm just like, it doesn't make sense because I got kids, I got family, I got a job, I got lifting, I got all these responsibilities. And how do people function? I had a buddy the other day. He's like, they went to their New Year's party they did a house crawl, and the house crawl was every house made a different type of food. Okay. Within the neighborhood. And so instead of a pub crawl, as a group, they went from one house to another, and you just had some food there, and then you hung out, mingled, and then walked to the other house. And that was their New Year's thing. But he was like, we went to this one house, and they went down in the basement, and it was like, he's like, first of all, the basement had like 9-foot ceilings, which he's like, I've never seen that before, but whatever. And then he goes, they had a full bar, and he showed me a picture of it, and it looked like a dive bar. And I'm thinking to myself, how do people like that function on a daily basis when you have 3 shelves full of liquor?
Yeah.
Full bar. You got mixers, you got all this stuff on the daily. Wow. I don't know. And it probably sounds like I am shaming people for alcohol all day. And hey, maybe I am. But to me, I don't function well on it. So that's my thing.
No, I'm with you. I mean, it was funny because I told a couple people, I'm like, yeah, I'll be at the gym on the 1st. And they're like, oh, what time? I'm like, sometime between 9 and 10. They're like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. Like, why are you going to be there so early? I'm like, because it's important. It's important to me.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. And that's the biggest thing is like when something's important to you, you make the sacrifice. You hear people all the time like, you got to sacrifice to be good at weightlifting. Well, yes and no. I think that sacrifice means something different to everybody. And to me, I guess sacrifice to me is like the time I'm in the gym is time lost with my kids or my family. Yeah. Or maybe that's really the only sacrifice. And sometimes I think about that. And you know what I do? I put the barbell down and I go upstairs and I start hanging out with them because I know that I'm consistent enough that even if I walk away from that session, I'm going to be down there tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I'm down there the next day. And I encourage people to get to a point where they're that consistent. And I'm not trying to float my own boat and say I'm like this badass weightlifter, but if I am anything in the sport, it's consistent and I have drive. And that's the one thing I do take pride in. I'm not lifting a ton of weight, but I am lifting enough. And I feel good when I can go out there and be consistent. That fills my cup. So find something that fills your cup.
No, I like that. I think this is also a good time of year to kind of look back at the last year, at the last 2 years, at the last however many years maybe you've been lifting, and then see, am I stagnant? Am I improving? What has changed? What is going the same? What do I like? What do I not like? And then just kind of reevaluate things. I'm not a big fan, and I made a little post about this where I don't make New Year's goals because my goals haven't changed. I made goals a long time ago and they were not on New Year's and they're still my goals. Right. And it's the same goal. And I know that I'm not going to quit on January 13th because these goals have been here for years.
Yeah.
But I do think that there are parts of those goals where I've had to reevaluate things and make changes in my life to accomplish those goals or to get closer to those goals. Right. And one of the things that it was 2 years ago on New Year's Eve, I left my old team, and that was a big part of my life. And that was probably one of the best decisions I made.
Yeah.
And it for me as a weightlifter, because the team was not improving. And no one on the team was improving. And I see every once in a while people post pictures or videos of them like jumping up and down, screaming and acting like they're the coolest lifter in the world. I'm like, that's less than you were hitting 2 years ago.
Right.
And I think that it's one of those things where like examine what your goals are and then see what steps you might need to take to get closer to accomplish those.
Dude, that's gold right there because it said so well. Like if you can't reflect on what you've been doing, you're not going to move anywhere forward. Like you just gotta reflect on that stuff, and then I guess to say it in different words than what you just said it. Take the reflection and evaluate what's working and what's not. And in the case of your example right there, that team wasn't working and you made a change, and it was a hard thing to do. But I don't know about you, but anytime I've had to do a hard thing, I've generally gained something out of it. And we watched you gain something out of it. We saw, the 3 weightlifting meets you did that year were probably I don't know. I can't say some of your best, some of the best that I've seen that you do. You did.
I had 3 totals that year that were higher than any total I've ever done in my life.
Something to be said about that. You took some time to reflect, you made the hard decision, and it paid off. And I say this to my kids and sometimes to my wife, all the time. But like, just because it's hard doesn't mean it's wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh man, dude, I'm all over the place with those things today. Yes. Ladies, just because it's hard doesn't mean it's wrong. So, as I was saying, make the hard decision because generally something's gonna come out of it that's gonna be good.
Yeah, no. I'll try to get you off your.
Thank you. I'm stuck.
So, one of the things that I will say is that team wasn't always wrong, and it wasn't always bad for me. But right. I got on the team, and I always kind of wanted to be on that team for a long time, and I didn't know what it was going to be like, and I thought I knew what it was going to be like, and the highs were very high. And the stuff that I learned, I don't think I could have learned if I was on any other team.
Yeah.
Like I learned how to be as confident as I can be in myself. I learned not to become scared of weights. I learned how to push harder and just, if I don't feel good, but if the weights are moving, doesn't matter how I feel, I'm just going to go.
Right.
But then it got to a point where it wasn't good anymore. I got everything out of it that I could have. And I would kind of compare that to like, if you wanted a new pair of weightlifting shoes and everyone had the new weightlifting shoes and you're like, oh, I really, really want them. You don't know that it's not good and that you don't know you didn't like them until you got them.
Right.
And then you got them and you're like, either heels too high, heels too low, toe box is too wide, too narrow. Like who knows what's wrong with them. But the good part, like if you get them and you don't like them, the good part is you're no longer thinking about them and you're no longer like lusting over them and wanting them. And now you can move on to that, out of that part of your life. And I think that it's just one of those things where I learned so much on that team, but I also learned so much more when I was able to break away from the team.
That's a really good point. And, so you took a situation that wasn't necessarily bad, because, well, I think it's like anything, and I use the same analogy with jobs. Like, yeah, we've all worked different jobs. Were they all great jobs? Obviously not, because we're not still there. But we definitely learned something from it, and it made us better. And that's also a part of moving forward. It's all about that reflection. And I like that you brought that up, because reflection is such a big part about saying, okay, what worked, what didn't, what's working now, what's not, and then removing the not and moving towards the good, the what is working, but then taking and replacing the not with new goals.
Yeah, and I think that when it comes down to this sport it's an individual sport.
Yeah,
and the team is either going to build you up or break or tear you down.
Yep.
And if you want to be the best lifter that you can be, you need to constantly be using the building up. And as soon as it's not building you up anymore, it's time to move on to find another team or more friends to help you continue to build on your journey.
Correct. And man, that's a really good way of putting that. Like you just need to move on, and it's okay. It's okay to move on. Yeah. You don't have to lose friends because of it. You don't have to, the people that are on your team don't have to be enemies. Some of them may choose to be, but that's something for them to work out, not you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's proof you were in a place you should have gotten out of.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we were on the same team. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I left for my own reasons, but, at the same point, like it was a good thing. I had not been on another team in weightlifting. And it was like, I needed to let my wings spread and see and experience other coaches, experience different teams, meet more people in the weightlifting world. I won't go down that road too much, but, when being on that certain team, there was, some bad vibes that people would give me when they found out what team I was on. I wasn't worried about that, but at the same point, like, maybe it would stop a relationship within the world of weightlifting because somebody's like, oh, they're on that team, instant judge. Maybe that's not the type of person I want to have a relationship with, but you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I had to spread my wings, and, man, I've had more fun in this past 2 years in weightlifting And I had fun on that team, but not as much fun as I've had now. And I've learned a lot. And I thought about this like the last week of December of like just my confidence level and the understanding of the sport and the giant steps I've taken forward in everything, technique, in strength, in friendships, in people that I'm like close with now because of that team. So I do owe it because of that. But at the same point, like when I left, there was a lot of bad feelings. Same with you. Like when there was bad feelings, and it kind of sucked, and it hurt. I'll just say it. It hurt my feelings, and it is what it is, and I can be a man about it and walk away from it. But it kind of sucked because I lost some people that I thought were friends.
Yeah,
we haven't really talked about it or opened up about that much.
No, it's been 2 years, so we're past the statute of liability or whatever that's called. So
yeah. There you go. And it was this time of year. So, if you can learn anything from these stories that we're telling you is like, reevaluate your situation and take some time to look at that and have fun in the sport. That's all I'm going to say. Have fun. Do what you want to do.
I agree.
Cool. Well, we're sitting at 41 minutes. That was a good conversation. I'm glad a lot of good things came out of that. And thank you for bringing that up. Love it. Yep. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. I hope everybody has a great week, a great night, all that fun stuff. And Cornell, thank you as always. And we will talk to you all later. Adios.
Bye.